This is a video on Teofilo Stevenson versus Muhammad Ali. Now, this is the biggest fight in heavyweight boxing that never happened. George Foreman said about Teofilo Stevenson, he could beat anyone. He has the skill and ability to beat Ali or myself and be heavyweight champion. This is what George Foreman said at the height of his career. Now, Teofilo Stevenson, for you that are maybe unfamiliar with him, was the most decorated heavyweight champion of all time. He had an amateur record of 302 wins, 22 losses, which is amazing. He won the Olympic gold 3 times in a row. It would have been four if the Cubans didn't boycott the 1984 Olympics. He won the World Championship 3 times, gold medal in that 3 times. Trans-American Games, gold medal 3 times. He had a devastating right hand. He had good footwork. He could fight on the inside as well as fighting well on the outside. He had a massive long range jab. He liked to sit there and be patient and set up that big right hand and knock his opponents out. In the 1972 Olympics, he knocked out every single opponent to win gold within a few rounds. Just devastating power. I mean, no one had ever seen anything like this in the Olympics before. He went and knocked out a guy called John Tate, who was supposed to be the next big thing in America and win the 1972 games, because the Americans were known for being the best in the heavyweight division. George Foreman, Joe Frazier, for example. But Teofilo Stevenson just put an end to that. Just like I say, he almost won 4 Olympic golds in a row. So he's very, very well known amateur, most deepest amateur pedigree of any boxer of any time. Stevenson and Ali, to compare them all, Muhammad Ali was big for his time, and he was 6'3" with a 78-inch reach and weighed about 215 pounds at his peak. Teofilo Stevenson, on the other hand, was 6'5", so he had a 2-inch reach advantage, an 84-inch reach, so he had a massive 6-inch reach advantage over Muhammad Ali, and outweighed Ali by 5 pounds. So Teofilo Stevenson was 220 pounds. So he was a massive boxer for that time. He was very tall, very lean. Just like I said, he had that massive reach, and he had quick hands as well. When he came in with that straight right hand cross, just that big right hand cross, and he knocked out opponents, and sometimes you didn't even see it. It was that quick. He was really fast with his hands, and he just used to sit there and just work away till he could set up that punch. He wasn't just a one trick pony. Just like I say, he can work on the inside just as well as he can work on the outside. He's got quick hands, but he can't put punches together quite as fast as Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali definitely moves better than him, is quicker than him. But whatever Muhammad Ali, if he does have faster hands, which he pretty much does have, especially when it comes to making combinations. So like I say, Teofilo Stevenson does have quick hands, but he's only quick with the putting single punches together, or he's not doesn't have that kind of flashy combinations that Muhammad Ali has. Now, whatever extra speed Muhammad Ali did have, I think it's going to be made up for by the fact that Teofilo Stevenson just has an incredible height and reach advantage. I mean, if he was 6'5", with the same reach as him, he can still lean in to have that extra advantage over Ali. But the fact that he's 6'5" with a 6-inch reach advantage, any speed, any virtues and speed that Ali has over Teofilo Stevenson is totally negated by the fact that Teofilo Stevenson just has that extra reach. It just nullifies whatever speed advantage Ali has. So just because Ali's faster does not necessarily mean he could outbox Teofilo Stevenson. Now, a few boxers that you'll know that Teofilo Stevenson beat are Tony Tubbs, Terrell Biggs twice, knocked him out the first time, Michael Dokes as well, that had that famous exhibition with Muhammad Ali. Yeah, he beat them all quite convincingly. But they're not the best fighters, even though they went on to have good pro careers. They're probably not the best fighters that Teofilo Stevenson fought. The world was kind of divided when you had the Soviet Union, because half of the best fighters in the world never managed to be able to turn pro because they were caught into that the amateur communist machine for the Olympics. So that the best fighters from Eastern Europe that are allowed to fight today were not allowed to fight then. People like Luis Ortiz weren't allowed, didn't really leave their country to come and turn pro like we have today. With Luis Ortiz is a big Cuban boxer. So Muhammad Ali was, yes, he was fighting half of the best professionals, half of the best boxers in the world at the time. But Teofilo Stevenson was also fighting the other half of the best professionals, but the best heavyweights at the time as well. They were not allowed to turn pro. A lot of people might disagree that half the best boxers are still in the amateurs, even in their their 30s and that, because a lot of people think amateurs, they fight there when they're younger, they gain the skill, then they turn professional, and that's true, and it's always been true for Americans. It's not been true in Eastern Europe. As you probably know, Eastern Europe make up half of the top 10 heavyweights right now, and back then, Cuba and the Soviet Union together won more gold medals than the United States did, and the other half of Western Europe. So yeah, Teofilo Stevenson, you can say he only fought as an amateur, but he fought half the best fighters at the time, and Ali fought the other half, and it would have been a massive fight if them two came together to fight. But the problem with the fight happening is it would have happened in about 1976, and this is where Ali was actually starting to decline then, and Teofilo Stevenson was definitely probably at the peak of his career. So it probably wouldn't have been a good fight for Ali. I mean, it would have been a massive fight at the time. The whole political scene of communism versus capitalism, it would have been a massive fight. It would have been shown all over the world. It would have been the biggest fight of Muhammad Ali's career. It would have been the most famous fight of Muhammad Ali's career. I think it would have been bigger than any of the Joe Frazier fights, George Foreman, or the Sonny Liston fight, without a doubt. Ali brings a lot of different things to this fight. He brings a lot of things that Stevenson has not seen before in this fight, with footwork, the movement, the be able to stay at distance, the versatility, the able to adapt in the ring to the conditions in the ring and the opponent in the ring at the time, the ability of Ali to be able to change punches mid-air, the angles that Ali could throw him at. Ali was an amazing boxer. I don't think anybody needs to be told that. But yes, he would cause a lot of problems for Stevenson that Stevenson hadn't seen before. But again, Stevenson would cause a lot of problems to Ali that Ali had never seen before. Ali had never fought a big opponent with that kind of talent that Stevenson had. He'd never fought a guy at 6'5", 84-inch reach. He just, out-heighted, outreached, outweighed him, that had the ability that Stevenson had. Yes, Ali had beat George Foreman. But when you actually look at the fight with George Foreman was only half an inch taller at 6'3" than Ali. He was only half an inch extra reach, with a 78.5-inch reach over Ali. He was only 5 pounds heavier than Ali as well, just like Stevenson. But the thing was, I wouldn't say George Foreman had anywhere near the ability that Stevenson had, and George Foreman said that clearly himself. And you actually watch them. You can just watch the Ron Royal versus George Foreman fight, and then watch Stevenson's fights, any of them as a pro, and you can see that Stevenson is the more talented boxer. Ali fought Ernie Terrell as well, you might say. But Ernie Terrell was kind of stiff. He didn't have very good footwork. He didn't have the punching power that Stevenson had. Didn't have the amateur pedigree that Stevenson had. He hadn't won any medals. He was never Lineal champion of the world, though he did have the WBA belt. But yeah, Stevenson was 6'6". He outweighed, outreached, and out-heighted Ali as well, but not to the same degree that Stevenson did. Stevenson weighed more than Terrell. He had a far longer reach than Terrell, but yes, he was an inch shorter than Terrell. But Ali had never fought anyone like Stevenson before. This is why this fight would be so big, and because of the politics of it, the communism versus capitalism thing. I mean, how do I think this fight would play out? I could see maybe Ali winning the first round quite easily, because I would say Stevenson was kind of a slow starter, or it could be a slow starter with better opponents. It would be quite close, I think, after that at certain points, but I would say if this went to the distance, I would say Stevenson would beat Ali quite convincingly, especially in 1976. But in Prime versus Prime as well, I think Stevenson could outpoint Ali. I don't see Ali having the punching power to stop Stevenson. Not impossible though. Stevenson has been stopped once in his career before, but it was later on when he was older. But if anyone's going to knock out Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali's never been knocked out before. I mean, he was stopped against Larry Holmes, but he's never been knocked out before during his career. It would be Stevenson with that fast right hand cross that he set up perfectly and timed perfectly. I would see two possibilities of this: is Stevenson knocking out Ali later on in the fight, or Stevenson winning this on unanimous decision. I don't think it's quite a 50-50 fight. I think Stevenson has too many things going for him over Muhammad Ali. Just the height, the reach, the weight that Ali has never seen or dealt with before, the ability of Stevenson, the power of Stevenson, the patience of Stevenson, the ability to fight on the inside that Ali was not very good at. The reason why Joe Frazier beat Ali so convincingly the first time and had so much problems with Joe Frazier is because Joe Frazier fights so well at the inside, and that's something that Ali just was not good at. He had to just tie up Joe Frazier. Well, you'd have that same problem with Stevenson, because Stevenson can fight well on the inside. Very well. He's a complete fighter, and Stevenson can box as well as just slug it out if it needs to. If Ali comes to him and just tries to slug it out, Stevenson can do that too, and Stevenson has the power and the chin to stand up to Ali and hurt him bad. So like I say, he goes to the body, and Ali's very resistant to the body, but he could wear him down there as well. Ali has some things over Stevenson, but I say Stevenson is a far more complete fighter than Ali, and I would have to say Stevenson, I think, would beat Ali. Ali could beat Stevenson, but I would say this is if I had to put a percentage wise on it, I would say it's a 70-30 fight in Stevenson's favour. I would be betting this fight on Stevenson winning by... I would go by unanimous decision. I mean, it could be a knockout, but I would go by decision. Even this is Prime versus Prime I'm talking here. So that's my thoughts on the fight that never happened, and the biggest fight in the heavyweight division that never happened. I think Stevenson would beat Muhammad Ali convincingly as well.